Teela. She's a fan favorite. She's a personal favorite. She is a redhead who wears gold armor. Well, at least that's how we all know her from both Filmation and from the Masters of the Universe vintage toy line. Well, she had a different look. She actually had another look back in the 80s, and it was a little bit more barbarian. It was this one, where she wore furry shorts and a gold metal bikini, for lack of a better word. I mean, I know the word bikini wasn't invented until the 40s when they blew up the Bikini Island, and that's a whole other thing, naming a swimsuit after an island that's blown up by a nuclear bomb, but let's not get into that right now. The point is, she wore this outfit. She wore this outfit in one of the DC comic books. And why they placed her in this outfit, or where they got their influence from, we can get to that in a moment. But I will tell you, when I was doing the original research for the Masters of the Universe Classics line in the very beginning, I immediately zeroed in on this figure as a great candidate for an action figure. And it was also awesome that lots of people were asking for this figure once Classics took off. Suddenly she became one of the most requested figures. And the fact that she was already on the roadmap at day one, slotted where she was in the 2011 line, to me was awesome justification that we were doing a good job with the roadmap. It was sort of a beacon out there in 2011, because this was, back in 2008 when the roadmap was made, that we were on the right path. And while she does appear blonde in her metal bikini, metal armor look, it's not the first time she's been blonde. She was actually blonde from day one. In the original mini-comic, she's shown as being a blonde warrior over and over again. It wasn't really until the action figure that she suddenly became a redhead. So we even wrote that into the MOTU Classics mini-comics that, much like modern women today, barbarian women on Eternia change their hair color sometimes. It's what women do. If you've ever dated a woman or been married to a woman or been friends with a woman or been related to a woman, you or maybe are a woman, shouldn't say that even though the channel is like 98% male according to YouTube. Anyway, so here she is, Metal Bikini Teela, or as we called her, Battleground Teela, and we'll get into that, complete with laser gun. Now, why this look? Why did DC choose to put Teela in a metal armor two-piece? Well, it's a bikini. What else am I gonna call it? Even though, again, bikinis didn't exist until the 40s. So, sci-fi and fantasy does thrive on attractive women. Everyone knows Princess Leia in her metal bikini sort of set the standard of a warrior female in a attractive two-piece outfit. But that's also completely not true, because Princess Leia did not at all invent the metal bikini outfit. That distinction goes to Laura Lane from Valerian, which, if you have not read Valerian, I highly recommend it. You will never look at Star Wars the same way again once you have flipped through this French comic book. And, it is also available in English if you do not speak French or are not learning French, although it's a great tool if you're learning French. What they're actually saying in this caption here is Laura Lane and Valerian are telling Luke and Leia that they've been doing this for a long time. So thanks guys for all the visuals that you stole from our comic book. We started that, not just metal bikinis. But it doesn't just start and end with Valerian. The idea of putting a barbarian female warrior in a, I guess you could say skimpy two-piece armor outfit is an ongoing motif in barbarian-themed paintings, movies, comics, books, etc. Even sci-fi women, like John Carter of Mars and his princess, often show her depicted in a two-piece metal bikini. So it's a common outfit, shall we say, that warrior women from the fantasy genre are often put in. So the idea that DC Comics was going to redesign Teela and put her in this outfit isn't too much of a surprise. It's been an ongoing visual for decades, if not centuries, and it even gets spoofed sometimes in movie posters, this one being one of my absolute favorites from European Vacation. So why would we make a figure of this? Well, duh, it's awesome. I mean, look at how great she looks standing next to Vigor. Even if it's not Teela and Vigor, and it's just barbarian warrior and barbarian woman, she looks awesome. I mean, this really is a long-standing theme visual in barbarian stories, so it made sense to do Teela in a more barbarian look so that she could blend in with this and really add to that visual in Masters of the Universe. And again, going back to Slave Leia, while she is the modern version of the kind of two-piece metal armor thing, if you are lucky enough at San Diego Comic-Con, you may run into a woman or two who are dressed up in cosplay in this outfit. And one of the things about Comic-Con is that every year, all of the girls dressed as Slave Leia all gather at the Gentle Giant booth in front of their giant Jabba the Hutt and pose for a group picture. And after seeing this at Comic-Con for several years, because Gentle Giant's booth was right across from Mattel's, I got to thinking, how can we play up on this? So we hired awesome cosplay actress Natalie Atkins to work at our booth, and she was going to dress up as Battleground Teela, or Warrior Teela, Barbarian Teela. She already actually did Slave Leia herself and made her own outfit, so we knew that she would have no problem carrying this and wearing it with pride and full geek love, because she's one of the geekiest, coolest people I know. We even hired her to model our bat belt for us years later, because she's an awesome person. So we had this custom-made Teela outfit designed for her, and I mean, she not only wore it with pride, but she was like, I would wear this like even if you weren't paying me to be here in this booth. This is awesome. She had a great time, and she brought a lot of great energy. And my goal, aside from hopefully attracting people to the booth to take pictures with her, which would get them into the booth, I was kind of thinking that maybe this would take over as the new Slave Leia, and people would actually start dressing up like this and coming to Comic-Con, and to say I was wrong is an understatement. No, that didn't happen. I don't think I ever saw one other person show up at Comic-Con dressed up as Teela in this outfit, despite my thoughts that maybe this would take over. But we did get a lot of fan art, much like the barbarian art I went through earlier in the video. While nobody actually dressed up as this character the way they do with Slave Leia, she did get quite a lot of love from Masters of the Universe artists, both professionals and fans over the years. There's no shortage of this just looking it up online. And some really cool stuff too. And to me, that's actually also a huge win, because anytime you can come out with a figure that really inspires additional content, art, etc., that's a huge win, because a figure really makes something permanent. It's got what's called permanence attached to it, because you can now pose it, and you can now put it on your desk. You can, action figure play it, as in the verb to action figure play. And creating that permanence is a big part of it, taking her beyond just being a couple panels in a DC comic book and making her into a physical plastic representation in 3D that can be posed or left in package. That's what permanence is all about. And I'm glad that the act of making her permanent, if you will, as an action figure, did lead to more fans finding inspiration and including her in MOTU Barbarian art. Now, as to why we called her Battleground Teela, that goes back to the mini-comic that came with the Eternia Towers, which was called the Ultimate Battleground. And we took this name and we applied it to some of the great battles in Masters of the Universe Classics. So, namely, the battle during He-Man and Skeletor's time was the second Ultimate Battleground, the first one being fought in King Grayskull's time. So during this event called the Second Ultimate Battleground, which was also the influence for the weapons pack, we named all the weapons packs after different great battles, also to help reinforce that part of the storytelling. And there she is. There's Battleground Teela under her sorcerer's robes. This is what she was wearing in order to kick some butt, so that she didn't trip on her robes and stuff. In the midst of the battle, she throws her robes off and reveals that this is what she's wearing underneath, which kind of makes sense, because she's going to want something that she can move in wearing a robe during hand-to-hand combat, not necessarily a good idea. Now, she definitely did not replace redhead standard Teela. Much like the yellow tech suit Batman I mentioned in a different video, this variant in no way replaced fans' desire for the original Teela, but as a second purchase, it was great. And fans really jumped and fell in love with, I think, the whole barbarian aspect, because there's no shortage online of pictures of this character doing very barbarian warrior things like facing off against dinosaurs or even robotic dinosaurs, because again, John Carter of Mars does this too in the future. So it's awesome. She came out great, and I'm really glad that we did her. I'm glad she was on the roadmap from day one, but I'm more glad that fans requested her, because it really showed that the roadmap was going along the right path, and now we had her.